The last time we saw Clint Barton in the MCU, he ended up grounded thanks to the events of Captain America Civil War. Okay, so he was placed on house arrest and not really grounded, although he did emerge with a rebellious new haircut. Clint was conspicuously absent during Avengers Infinity War, but we might have found some clues about not only what he was up to during that time, but what is in store for Endgame. Despite being one of the best S.H.I.E.L.D. agents in history, Clint Barton has occasionally struggled with following the rules. After all, he did a notoriously poor job of assassinating Natasha Romanoff since she's still alive and well. There were many exciting events which took place during Avengers Age of Ultron, and discovering Clint had a secret family definitely wasn't one of them. They were so well hidden that Marvel fans had no idea they even existed. It was pretty surprising, and all the more so when Clint announced his retirement in order to spend more time with them. But as we all know, that didn't last long. When his pal Steve Rogers asked for his help during Captain America Civil War, Clint was all too eager to forget his wife and family and charge off to battle.
What are you doing here?
Disappointing my kids.
Not that we can blame him, he's not the only one who can't say no to fighting alongside Captain America. Well, the bright side of Clint Barton's choice was that he had plenty of time to spend at home since he got placed on house arrest. Be careful what you wish for, Clint. We know Scott Lang got sentenced to 2 years of house arrest for his actions during Civil War. Although we aren't sure the length of Clint's sentence, it's probably safe to assume it was similar. Following Civil War, Clint was supposed to be spending quality time with his family within the confines of the law. But it was still surprising that Clint didn't make an appearance during Avengers Infinity War. Was it because Captain America didn't personally invite him to take part in saving the world? Or did Clint just choose a really inconvenient time to start obeying the rules? Even though he was under house arrest and had promised to stop his superhero antics, would he really have sat out while his friends battled Thanos? Maybe he really was finally taking his commitment to his family seriously and figured the Avengers had everything handled. Fans wondered if we would ever see Clint in the MCU again, or if he had made his last appearance. However, the Russo brothers stated they had big plans for Clint Barton, and that his absence during Infinity War was not a mere oversight. Actor Jeremy Renner also confirmed his days of playing Clint were not over quite yet. In typical Marvel Studios fashion, they had been keeping us waiting because we saw Clint make an appearance in the first trailer for Avengers Endgame. Only he looked more than a little bit different than the last time we saw him. Movie fans may have been wondering where Hawkeye's bow and arrows were, but comic book fans were busy shrieking with glee. That's because it appears Clint Barton is over his Hawkeye persona and has taken on the title of Ronin, which he does during the comic books. Ditching his standard weapons for a sword is a pretty huge hint that something odd is going on, but let's take a closer look. In a subsequent trailer, we got a better view of Clint's left arm, because feel free to hang out at work in a tank top, we guess. But this work-inappropriate outfit did give us a chance to check out Clint's tattoo better, and what do you know, it depicts a skeletal samurai warrior. Or as some would call it, a Ronin. Hey, what do you know, that's the name of Clint's new superhero name. In Japanese culture, Ronin were samurais who operated without taking orders from a shogun or masters. This is actually a pretty fitting tattoo for someone like Clint. He's been known to operate outside of the bounds of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it looks like he's also been doing some freelance fighting outside the Avengers. It's not exactly subtle, but then again, neither is Clint's mohawk. If that doesn't drive home the point that he's being rebellious, nothing will. We're also guessing the new hairstyle proves something terrible happened to his wife Laura Barton. She seemed pretty sensible, so we have to think that she would have stopped him from going out in public with that haircut. Underneath the Ronin on his tattoo, we see a serpent wrapped around a tree. This could be a rather obvious nod to the biblical story of the Garden of Eden. The tale concerns a woman named Eve who is tempted by a serpent into eating fruit from the forbidden tree of knowledge. Interestingly enough, the tree kinda looks like it has some faces on it, which could also point to something bad having happened to Clint's family. Basically, there's really no way to accept the idea that all of Clint's aesthetic changes happened in a universe where his family is still alive. Not only could the tattoo tell us some information about what is going on in the MCU and in Clint's mind, but it might also provide an important time marker. Many people noticed his former partner Natasha Romanoff's hair changes dramatically over the course of the various Endgame trailers. These style changes likely indicate a significant passage of time. We see her go from the look she was rocking at the end of Infinity War to a longer style, to growing out her red hair. But Clint's stylistic changes could hold some important clues as well. During a happier scene, we saw Clint training a young woman, presumably his daughter, to shoot an arrow. In this cheerful moment of familial bliss, we don't see any hint of a tattoo on Clint. This means whenever he was tattooed, it was some point after this idyllic scene. We also didn't see this tattoo during Captain America Civil War. His Hawkeye costume helpfully exposes his left arm, where we can see he definitely doesn't have any ink at that point in time. It seems like his haircut and new tattoo must have come at some point following the decimation, which took place during Infinity War. In the comic books, Clint Barton suffers an unfortunate end at the hands of Scarlet Witch. If you thought she was unpredictable and powerful in the MCU, well, she's next level in the comic books. In her defense, she was going through a rough time. During the time he's gone, a young woman named Katie Bishop takes on the name Hawkeye in order to fight crime. Like Clint, Katie is a mortal woman with no extraordinary powers. She just really wants to fight for justice and has an incredible sense of aim, which apparently is all you really need. Katie takes on the title of Hawkeye in order to honor Clint in his absence, but just to make things awkward, he comes back to life. Hawkeye decided to let Katie keep the name Hawkeye and started going by Ronin instead. Katie Bishop isn't related to Clint, but it is possible this will be changed as the story is adapted into the MCU. It could be Clint's daughter is the young girl we saw in the Endgame trailer, and that at some point she will take over as Hawkeye in the MCU. This would also seem to fit in with some things we've seen in various Marvel movies lately. Many fans have been wondering if we could soon see a movie featuring the young Avengers, and it certainly seems like the next generation of heroes is on the move. Scott Lang's daughter, Cassie, has stated that she wants to be a superhero.
So maybe you just need someone watching your back.
And Maria Rambeau's daughter in Captain Marvel echoed a similar sentiment after being inspired by her Aunt Carol. It could be that the new Hawkeye will be a younger hero than we're used to seeing. After all, the MCU has been going strong for over a decade. It isn't showing any signs of stopping. Marvel Studios is playing the long game here, and they could be setting up some future plot lines and characters. But going from Hawkeye to Ronan is more than a name change and swapping out his bow for a sword. It represents a tremendous loss in Clint's life. And moving forward as Ronin, his story takes on a darker, grittier, and more tragic tone. And considering the decimation wiped out half of all life in the universe, it seems unlikely Clint was able to emerge with his family unscathed. Perhaps losing his beloved daughter made it too painful for Clint to pick up his bow anymore without being overcome with memories. Plenty of people get over a bad breakup by getting some new ink and a haircut. So what Clint's done is pretty understandable, all things considered. The mere fact that he's back in action after swearing off adventuring for his family may prove that at this point he has nothing left to lose. You can't spend more time with your family if Thanos wiped them out using the Infinity Stones after all. Not only is Clint a father and husband, but he's also a superhero. If his family perished, he would be plagued with doubts about whether or not he could have saved them. By retiring in order to help keep them safe, did he end up dooming them all? That is just one of the awful, anxiety-inducing, self-doubtful thoughts Clint likely had to deal with in the wake of the decimation. We all work through grief in our own ways. Steve Rogers chose to attend a support group in order to get help, and Clint just signed up for some ink therapy and a new haircut. Hey, whatever works, man. When we see his arm tattoo in the trailer, it certainly looks like it's fully healed, indicating he got it some time ago. Time is funny in the MCU during the best of times.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
And many fans were expecting a significant jump between the ends of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. However, the mid-credits scene of Captain Marvel makes it seem as though Carol Danvers shows up fairly soon after the decimation happened. Everyone is still reeling from the decimation when Captain Marvel walks in asking for Nick Fury. We've also seen Captain Marvel interacting with other heroes at various points in the Endgame trailers.
I like this one.
Instead of a big time jump in the beginning, it looks as though we will be seeing a lot of time go by over the course of Endgame. It seems likely Endgame will begin with Captain Marvel showing up, and later on, Natasha will be tasked with bringing in Clint. What with him apparently heading off to Japan in order to fight the Yakuza, this is easier said than done. We also get to see her hair, which is potentially an even bigger clue. Although the lighting isn't great, it's clear her hair is pulled back. This would be difficult to accomplish with the short hair she had at the conclusion of Infinity War, and in some of the other trailer scenes. It looks more like the style we see her wearing while she's engaging in target practice. This means it has almost certainly been at least a few months since the decimation, when we see Natasha and Clint interact here. Another interesting tidbit from the latest trailer is the fact that we see many heroes heading into space with Captain Marvel. There's Black Widow sporting the short blonde hair she had during Infinity War, Rhodey, Thor, Captain America, and Rocket. Yet Hawkeye is missing. Maybe he was spending some time with his tattoo artist or his barber. It certainly seems as though this particular scene takes place soon after the events of Infinity War. This could mean Black Widow and the rest of the remaining heroes tried to take on Thanos before realizing they needed more help. Hey, being called on out of desperation might not be exciting, but at least Clint got an invite to be a part of Endgame. After hearing our ideas about Clint Barton, what do you think his new ink symbolizes? And how does it tie into Avengers Endgame? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section, and then click on that subscribe button for more videos from us here at Screen Rant. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.